Hey guys, my name's Daryl and welcome to this edition of Project TJ. I received an email recently and it's on a subject that I was thinking about doing a video on, or a series of videos, and I thought, why not? The video was from Ahmed and it was, "Hi mate, I just bought a Jeep 2005 TJ. I like your build, it looks amazing, well done mate. Thank you. I'll start to build mine soon. I'm a bit confused and I do not know where to start, to be honest. I'm thinking of starting with lift kit and suspension. I will appreciate any advice. I wanted to ask you, where did you get your bull bar? Cheers, Ahmed." Well, Ahmed, the bull bar is a metal cloak bull bar out of the US. Metal cloak is a mix and match system, and you can kind of do what you want with end caps and push bars and things like that. So well worth looking at if you're after that type of thing. I'm really happy with it. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but whatever is. So I figure if you're a new TJ owner and you have a relatively unmolested TJ with not a lot of mods on it, where would you start? And the first thing that most people tend to think is, I'll throw a lift kit on it and a set of wheels and tyres, or a set of tyres. And bigger is better. However, not always so. Now, the first thing most guys will do once you pick up your stock standard Jeep is rush out, get the biggest tyres they can have fitted on it, and whatever suspension lift they can get for their budget. You'd be better off to pull it back and sit down with a pen and paper and think, how am I going to use this vehicle? Do I want something just to drive day to day? Will my four-wheel driving be just bush tracks? Will it be just beach work? Will it just be rock crawling, or a combination of all those? And that tends to guide you through it. However, your overall budget at the end of the day will limit what you can do and what you can do well. My last Jeep TJ I bought from the dealership in 2006. I took it straight to a Jeep workshop and I had a 4.5-inch Rubicon Express kit fitted, short arm. I had 33-inch mud tyres put on it, and I just can't remember the brand offhand. It had 4.56 gearing and it had ARB air lockers front and rear. It was a beast of a vehicle and it worked just so well off-road, but there was a lot of money invested in it. In today's money, we're probably looking about 20k worth of options. Now, when this Jeep came to me, it was a stock standard vehicle, and instead of going out and spending all of that money in one go with this one, I thought I'd actually like to enjoy the modification journey, because I do. And if you look back through my YouTube channel, you'll see that I do. It also keeps me interested in a single vehicle for a lot longer than modifying it, enjoying it, moving it onto something else, and then modifying that. So that's why I've done it this way. And it also allows me to document it for you guys, that you can see what a certain level did, what the next level did, and what the next level up from that did. I'm not saying I'm going to end up in a different place, I probably won't, but I enjoy the journey. So if you want to do one of these with a budget in mind, I'd do a 2.5-inch lift. I would put on somewhere between a 31 and 32-inch tyre. With that, it'll still be reasonably good off-road, it'll still be reasonably good on-road. You won't have to change too much. The suspension lifts in that range are generally well-packaged suspension lifts. I like the OME kit, it's worked well for me, and I just can't say enough about it. The only thing I will say with TJs, with anything you do, is that you need to have some way of disconnecting the sway bar from the front axle off-road. Once you do that, it goes from a respectable off-road vehicle to something that has massive wheel travel, and that is even with a standard suspension or a 2.5-inch lift. It just lets the front end walk over obstacles. And I'll link up here to the video that I made that showed how much more travel we got when adding front sway bar disconnects onto a 2-inch OME kit. Now, the next step up from a 2 to 2.5-inch suspension kit is to a 2.5 to 4-inch kit, and they're generally somewhere between 3 and 4. With that, you're setting up for 33s. And you go down the rabbit hole. And going down the rabbit hole, I mean, you need a slip joint eliminator, which is a different shaft that comes out of your transfer case. You need a double cardan tail shaft, which has 3 different uni joints on it. Two uni joints up the top and the standard one down the bottom. You need adjustable upper arms at the minimum. And you're looking at multiple thousands of dollars. And if you can't install this stuff yourself, it just blows out because there's a lot of work involved in it. So if you're going to go to 3 to 4.5 inch, budget for that because you're going to need it. What tyres do I put on it? For me, I'd always go on mud terrain. I've had so many different tyres over the years, and I've tried the all-terrains, and I used to swing. I used to have a set of mud terrains. I'd keep them until they were totally worn out. They were so noisy at that point, and I'd say, never having them again. I'd go to all-terrains, I'd have them for a while, and there was always a point where it was like, I wish I would have had the mud terrains. So what I do now is, I buy mud terrains, and at a certain point, and with the KM3s, that was around 40,000 Ks. It was like, they're now getting too noisy, they're now getting a little bit twitchy on the highway, I'm going to get a new set. And then by putting on a new set at around the 40k mark, or I've had enough of these, the vehicle then comes to life again, and it's like you've done a complete rebuild because all of the tyre noise goes away. You don't have any shimmy in the steering. It is just really nice to be in again. However, if you want an all-terrain tyre, be my guest. KO2s or the like, they do most things well. However, if you're going to push to the limits, which I do occasionally, a mud terrain is certainly something good to have. One thing I will say with tyres is don't try and cheapen out. Don't try and save a couple of $100 by going to a no-name brand thinking that they will be as good no matter what anyone tells you. They won't be. I've tried many different tyres over the years, and to be honest, I always go with a Berth Goodrich. It's my pet tyre. I know what I'm buying. Yes, they are more expensive, but they just do what they say they will. And I've done a lot of motorsport and I've done a lot of off-roading, and it's the same both ends of the spectrum. Buy good tyres, it's the best performance gain you will ever get, and that doesn't matter if it's circuit racing or it's off-roading. I've always bought really good tyres and I've never been disappointed. So make of that what you will. Now, if you're going to go all out and you're taking the jump to the 3 to 4 inch kit, you'll fit 33s on, no problems. The smaller the lift, you may fit them on, and there's the normal forum question, I have a 2-inch lift, can I fit 35s on it? Yes, you can, but you will not be going off-road. And there was a YouTube video recently of someone who put 38s with, was it a 4-inch lift? And it's like, that's great, and you'll be able to drive around the suburbs on it, or you will be bump stopping the front end, so it will have no upward wheel travel and it will be utterly hopeless. I'm sorry. No, if they look cool, I thought this thing looked unreal, but it's just not going to perform. And you can say it's great, I drive around the suburbs, and if that's all you do, it may be quite suitable for you. But if you want something that works and works well off-road and on-road, stay within the limitations. With the 2Js, you're generally one size down from the JKJL market. So whilst they can put 35s and 37s at a pinch, it's quite easy to put 33s on one of these, and then the ultimate jump is to 35s without extending wheelbase and cutting up your guards and everything like that. Now here in Australia we got one version of 2J, and that was a Sport. We didn't get the Rubicon. The Rubicon had the Dana 44s front and back, better gear ratios throughout, a different transfer case, and lockers front and rear. With our Sport model, it was slightly upgraded from the normal US Sport model, where we got the Dana 44 rear. Now they came with 3.7 gear sets and a limited slip diff in the back. If that's the vehicle you have, I'd be staying with a 31, 32 max. With the 32s, I found over the standard tyres, my off-road ability wasn't as good. I didn't have as much control going down or up hills, so I was on the brakes a lot more, trying to pick lines down rocky steps and the like, and I was on the gas more, and that's not a good thing. With the 33s, I actually don't like it that much off-road at the moment, and because it's worse again. And on-road, at the moment with the 6-speed manual box, I don't use 6th. It's either in 4th or 5th, and with the hills I'm back to 4th, which isn't an issue, but if you want to put a load in it or tow, getting away from the mark, you are slipping the clutch ever so slightly with the 33s. So that's something to think about. You really do need to change your diff ratios. Now if you want to go to 35s, you're going to want somewhere between a 3 and a 4 inch lift and at least a 1 to 1.25 inch body lift. And that is a well respected formula to put 35s on these things. However, there are many more modifications you need to do at that point, and I'm just going to go into them here. And to be honest, I work on the diminishing returns principle. When you get to 33s, the jump to 35s, the vehicle looks awesome, great stance, but you've got to do so much work, and if this is double locked with the right gearing, there isn't going to be a lot in it at the end of the day. Before you think I need 35s, there's this guy on 32s with a 2-inch OME kit with a 1-inch body lift, lockers front and back, and he is just doing everything the big guys are doing. Would it be easier for him on 33s or 35s? Maybe a little, but again, you're going down to the diminishing returns mark. I'd rather be on 32s or 33s than 35s as a daily drive.
I wanna be with you. 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 Let's go tonight. Maybe you can stay the night. I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. Don't let this go tonight. Let you go. I just wanna let you know. I wanna be with you. I wanna be with you. Don't let this go tonight. Maybe you can stay the night. Don't let this go tonight. Maybe you can stay the night.
Now with body lifts, I've had body lifts on different vehicles before for numerous reasons. The normal reason is you want room for bigger tyres and you've done whatever suspension lift you can do that's in your budget. And a body lift's a really easy way to get more room in the wheel wells for a bigger tyre and allow it to stuff without having to limit the amount of upward travel with bump stops. With these, especially on the front, you need to make your bump stops higher to limit your up travel. If not, your tyre will just eat into your guards and bend them. And if you see a lot of Jeeps with rounded front guards, they're not bump stopped properly. There's a couple of packages that combine suspension kits and a body lift to get a certain tyre size. And a common one is a 2-inch suspension lift and a 1 to 1.25 body lift, and that allows 33s. And it allows the 33s to flex mostly. You probably will have to bump stop the front end, but you won't have to bump stop it as much as if you just do the suspension lift without the body lift. For 35s, the common thing is 3.5 to 4 inch lift with a 1 to 1.25 body lift, and that's how most guys do it. The days of going to a 6-inch suspension lift are generally over. It's sort of frowned upon. The body lift also allows you to do other stuff, and that's namely put a flat plate on the transfer case, and there's numerous companies that make different transfer case guards that lift them up. The only difficult thing is that if you have a 4-inch lift and you lift up your transfer case, you could have a uni joint angles of 5 to 5.5 inches of straight lift. And if you are going to do a flat plate or whatever on your transfer case, you then look at higher engine mounts. But you can see how all this stuff leads into another modification and more money. So wrapping up, for me, you're left with two options. You can put a 2-inch suspension lift of your choice in it. You can put a 31 or 32-inch mud tyre or all-terrain, depending on your usage. A set of sway bar disconnects on the front, and go and enjoy it. It'll be really capable. It'll go where most other vehicles go. If you then want to spend some more money, you can just add air lockers to it. And adding air lockers front and back on 32s or 31s with a 2-inch suspension lift is a really good thing. You'll be amazed at where it'll go. If you want to run a 33-inch tyre, remember you're going to have to do your gear ratios, your slip joint eliminator, your double cardan drive shaft, adjustable suspension arms, and if you're prepared to go down that line, with double airlocked, you've got an absolute beast of a vehicle. I don't think with these things you really need to go to 35s unless you're the weekend warrior that really pounds on it every weekend, and it's the thing that everyone else is running 35s, so do I. I've never once been held back by 33s when dual locked and ratio's done. So that's about it for today, guys. If you have liked that, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and we'll see you next time. Bye now.